Hi everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the book review for When the Body Says No, by Gabor Maté. If you listened to part 1, thanks for returning and be prepared for a new round of exciting information on how our body works and how the mind and body work in sync. If you did not get the chance to listen to part 1, I fully recommend to set aside another 13 minutes as it will worth your time. Now let's get back into the topics, and just as a brief recap. In the first 5 chapters we've learned about the impact of early childhood experiences on adult health and also about the hidden cost of the repressed emotions. In the next chapters one have gathered some interesting topic around type of personalities and how this might impact our health, different type of stress and also how dependencies can cause unknown stress with extremely negative impact on our well-being. Just a few notes I took on chapter 6 that I want to share with you, and that is, the characteristics of stress are not always what people think. For example, the stress of adapting to another person is in itself a type of stress. Now that we have also learned that, we can move to the next chapter which covers a broader topic to which many can relate, and that is smoking. Gabor even brought some logical schemes into play to explain this part. If A causes B, then whenever A is present, B should follow. If B does not consistently follow A, then A cannot be the sole cause of B. It may be a major factor, but not the sole determining factor. Similar to this, saying that lung cancer is caused by smoking is incorrect. Smoking alone cannot cause lung cancer because it would mean that every smoker would suffer from lung cancer. But what other factors have been commonly identified in people who suffer from this disease? Well, emotional repression, rationality and anti-emotionality, also known as R/A. Let's hear this interesting fact. A scientific study was conducted over a period of 10 years in a city with 14,000 inhabitants. All subjects received an R/A test containing a series of questions related to the repression of anger. The incidence of cancer in people who answered positively to 90% of the questions was 40 times higher than in the rest of the subjects. But how? Psychological influences have a decisive biological contribution to the onset of malignant disease through the connections of the body's stress apparatus, hormonal glands, nerves, the immune system, and brain centers where emotions are perceived and processed. The mind-body dichotomy is an outdated traditional medical perspective. The new trend/new discipline, psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology, studies the connections/concomitant functions of the organs and glands that regulate our behavior and physiological balance. Receptors in brain cells, hormones from the endocrine glands or substances produced by the immune system, bind to receptors and influence the organism's behavior, commonly known as symptomatology. If we study a typical nerve cell or neuron under a microscope, we can see that it has numerous receptor sites, millions. Now, messenger molecules and most hormones are made from amino acids, the basic elements of proteins. They are called peptides and carry information from one system to another and are not limited to one organ or area of the body. How does the body communicate? For example, a psychic stimulus first analyzed by emotional centers, known as the limbic system, which includes parts of the cerebral cortex but also deeper brain structures. When the brain interprets the received information as a threat, the hypothalamus causes the pituitary gland to release a hormone, adrenocorticotropin. This hormone causes the adrenal cortex to release cortisol into circulation. Simultaneously with this hormonal cascade, the hypothalamus sends messages through the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight part of the nervous system, to another part of the adrenal glands, the medulla. The adrenal medulla produces and releases the fight or flight hormone adrenaline, which immediately stimulates the cardiovascular and nervous systems. Examples of psychic stimuli that influence the HPA axis are those mentioned in previous chapters: lack of control, lack of information, unsatisfied emotional needs. Meeting these needs eliminates the stress response, eliminates danger or releases tension. Now that we understand how emotions interact with the immune, nervous, and hormonal systems, we also understand their direct impact on the well-being of the body. Disrupted hormonal activity and impaired immune protection play a role in the onset of cancer. Cancer results from DNA damage, a disease of unhealthy cell replication. But DNA should regenerate. Why in some people does it regenerate, and in others, the immune system cannot fight cancer? Cancer has several stages, the first being initiation. the moment when a normal cell turns into an abnormal cell. A cell gives birth to healthy offspring, but it can escape control and generate cells with defects that then multiply without considering the needs of the organism. Each of us has tiny cancerous tumors growing in our bodies every moment, scary. But our body knows how to handle them. DNA is damaged or deteriorated depending on certain factors, example, tobacco, but most of the lesions are temporary or quickly eliminated through DNA regeneration or cell death. DNA repairs itself, or the cell dies without multiplying the damaged material. Where cancer appears, there is a failure in this process. Stress can modify these processes, and there is a study on people suffering from depression, slower DNA repair. If the body cannot regenerate and fight malicious cells, the next two stages follow: acceleration and progress. Chronic psychological state plays a crucial role in the course of the disease. The effect of hormones on the growth and spread of cancer is twofold. Hormone-dependent cancer cells carry receptors on their membranes for various hormones that encourage cell growth. Example, breast cancer depends on estrogen. But less known is that there are other types of hormones: androgens, prolactin, insulin, vitamin D, all secreted by the HPA axis or regulated by it, for which cancer has receptors. That being said, stress is a powerful modulator of hormone function, so drive it carefully. Moving further into the next chapter. Interestingly, Gabor reveals the wrong approach of doctors. He is talking about prostate cancer and how the state is encouraging men to test proactively. And why is this wrong? Well, that's because no treatment with a success rate, with or without repercussions on other levels, seems to be scientifically proven. This should not be understood as a disease without escape. On the contrary, he explains in detail in Chapter 8 the evolution, stagnation, or even non-manifestation of the disease in many cases encountered. But more interesting to analyze is what causes this type of cancer. It is the first type of cancer shown to be linked to hormonal influences. Testosterone is the hormone that influences tumor growth in this type of cancer. Similar to other types of hormones produced by the endocrine glands, testosterone is under the control of the brain's hypothalamus-pituitary feedback system, a stress-sensitive network, which sends a hormonal and biological substance cascade into the body. Furthermore, as in other cases, the defective relationship in childhood, the repression of emotions, making others happy, are common traits of people with this type of diagnosis. Now, before moving on to the next chapter, I would like to take a short break from the book review and talk a bit about the endocrine system and hormones, so you can better understand how it works and the connections that happen within our body. The main endocrine glands are hypothalamus, which is the link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. Pituitary gland, it has the size of a bean but with an extremely important role in growth and reproduction. Pineal gland, it is located between the two hemispheres and has the role of regulating the sleep and establishing the circadian sleep-wake cycle. Thyroid, this is the largest, located in the neck. It has an important role in metabolism. Parathyroid glands, which are located near the thyroid, 4 in number, role in regulating calcium in bones. Pancreas, which is located in the abdomen, behind the stomach, it has a role in regulating blood sugar. Adrenal glands, these are located near the kidneys and responsible for producing hormones that affect blood pressure, heart rate, and the stress response. Gonads, these are the ovaries and testicles. Thymus, which is located in the upper part of the chest and mainly responsible during puberty for the hormones that control the growth and development of white blood cells. Hormones are chemical substances produced by these endocrine glands, and they impact specific target organs. When hormones leave the glands, they enter the bloodstream and are transported to their destination. Any disruption in this process can have repercussions on the proper functioning of organs. There is much more to discuss on this topic, and I'm thinking of doing a separate episode. But for now, I just wanted to share these concepts with you for a better understanding of how this super intelligent machinery called human body is working. Now let's go back to the book review and chapter 9. Is there a cancer personality? Well, there are different types of personalities, that's for sure. Dr. Maté looks into the types A, B, C. Type A individuals are tense, angry, aggressive, Control-dependent individuals. These individuals are prone to heart disease. Type B individuals are balanced, moderate people who can feel and express emotions in a controlled manner. Type C personalities are described as extremely cooperative, patient, passive, lacking confidence and acceptance, hiding their feelings far from consciousness, traits that are often found in people who develop cancer. We cannot say that a certain personality type causes cancer, but we can say that they can increase the risk as a consequence of stress caused by these traits. The situations mentioned previously cause stress, even if the stress is not conscious. Repeated and multiplied over time, they have the power to affect homeostasis and the immune system. It is stress and not personality that can develop or resist a disease, through its impact on the physiological balance of an organism. The way people mature shapes their relationship with the mind and body. There is a significant difference between a person's personality trait and their response to the environment, the adaptation style. What we may consider unchangeable traits are actually unconscious defense mechanisms. For example, people identify with certain patterns, believing them to be an indispensable part of their personality, such as the need for control, when in reality there is no innate human inclination for control. We are not born with a need for control, but in childhood, if needs are not met, an obsessive adaptation style can develop, and children become restless about every detail. This child becomes an adult who, if unable to control life events, will go through stress. Unconsciously, the person believes that if they can control all life and environmental events, they can satisfy their needs. This is just a response to the deprivation of emotions, so an adaptation style, not an innate trait. Emotional abuse and emotional dependence can cause stress that affects health, for example, stomach diseases. The obsessive need to please others, which is often caused by a relationship with a controlling or martyring parent, can bring more damage than we could possibly imagine. Obsessive-compulsive traits need appearance, punctuality, conscientiousness, plus guarding affectivity, over-intellectualization, rigid attitudes toward morality and behavioral standards, being critical, perfectionism. All these could lead to a very common clinical symptomatology which is known as BI inflammation. BI inflammation is a result of disordered immune activity in the intestine. Inflammation is a defense mechanism of the body, a process called upon by the body to isolate and destroy hostile organisms. This mechanism must exist in perfect balance. And some substances can accelerate inflammation, while others inhibit it. But the forces of the immune system keep it in balance as long as they are kept in balance. The intestine and intestinal transit are more than just an organ for digestion. There is a sensory apparatus with its own nervous system closely linked to the brain's emotional centers. Sensations in the stomach, pleasant or unpleasant, are part of the body's normal reaction to the world. The placebo effect in pain control is also very interesting when it comes to this symptomatology, and not only, 55% of patients responded to placebo medications. So the conclusion is that not miracle drugs, but encouraging the patient's healing capacity may be the answer to inflammatory bowel disease. I will take a pause now, to let you digest all the information and think about it twice before letting stress take control of you. I will continue with part 3 in the next episode. If you liked this episode, please click like and subscribe, as a sign of appreciation, but also because I plan to come up with more valuable content for you. Thanks for watching and hope to see you back.